All right, it's the Mike Delivers podcast, and I'm really excited about this guest. I love getting UVA stars on here, and joining me on the Mike Delivers podcast is London Perrantes, UVA alum, one of the best basketball players to come out of that program, a professional basketball player himself. London, thank you for joining the Mike Delivers podcast. I appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Of course. And the first question, we're going to get right into it. Very deep-hitting stuff here. I had Ty Jerome on the podcast during the pandemic. I want to say it was when like the NBA was suspended a little bit. And he came on the podcast and he said something I was stunned to hear, but I'm curious to get your take on it. He said, and this is his words, that Bodos was overrated and not as good as people in Charlottesville make it out to be. So I don't know if I want to get you in trouble right away, but your thoughts on Ty's comments.
I mean, he's from New York, so it's something that you would kind of expect when there's bagel spots on every corner of every block in New York. So I think he still likes Bodos because I was just in Virginia, I want to say a week or so ago, and we got Bodos together. So he definitely still likes it. So if he said he doesn't like it, he's not being truthful. It might not be his favorite bagel, but he still likes Bodos. And I love Bodos. That's definitely one of the staples of UVA for sure. So you can't not like that.
Did we just expose Ty who comes on the podcast and says, I don't get that. And then you're telling me just a couple of weeks ago.
He got Bodo last week with me. Maybe he just sucked it up and got it with me, but he got it and he ate it and I watched it.
What's your go-to order at Bodos?
Just a sausage, egg, and cheese on a plain bagel. I'm a plain bagel guy. But just the breakfast sandwiches are just amazing. So,
I'm a plain bagel person too, and everybody always gives me crap for that. They're like, you got to get it with salt. You have to get it with everything bagel. I go, no. I let the bagel do the talking, and then everything else inside of it goes that way. So I'm happy to hear you're a plain bagel guy. We're bonding already. That's great.
For sure.
That's cool. Now, going back to Charlottesville, it's always changing so fast with all the restaurants. Did it seem any different coming back a couple of years later? And I'm sure you've been there frequently back and forth, but did the restaurant scene seem like it changed at all?
It's definitely changed. Even from when I started school to when I ended, and rest in peace to Flame and Walk. That was one of the best places ever. It's like a hibachi Japanese. I don't know if you've ever been there.
Yes.
But that was one of my favorite places. But I actually, after I graduated, I didn't get to go back for maybe like a year or two. And then when I came back, it was completely different in terms of a lot of different restaurants and things like that. And even when I went back last week, I think Downtown Grill is closed now and things like that. So Zen Burger is gone. And so, I mean, it's definitely changed a lot. A lot of my staple places have definitely have moved on. And so, I mean, there's obviously Charlottesville is a big place for food, and that was something that people didn't really know until they got into the city. So, but there's definitely still some really good food places there for sure.
Was Flaming Walk, refresh my memory, was that on 29? Does that sound right?
down 29, kind of by the Waffle House on 29.
Yes.
That was our spot. We probably, the basketball team probably kept that place in business, probably for sure.
No, I did many takeout orders back in my day. Well, the problem, like now I'm older, but it's like metabolism slowing down, not moving as much. I would eat that every day if I could, but I'd be like 400 pounds. That's the problem.
Even with us, we couldn't even eat that every day. So it's all good.
Was there a like after practice go-to staple that you would go? And let me actually rephrase that. How about like after a game? Because I could only imagine, I do like my rec league basketball for an hour, and I think I'm like the coolest guy in the world, and I'm burning 300 calories or whatever. But like after you would have like a serious game, Duke was in town, UNC was in town. Was there like a post-game meal that you craved, and did a win or loss dictate how your hunger level might go?
I think it really just depended on when our next game was, in terms of like if we wanted to have like a cheat meal or like really like eat whatever we wanted and things like that. So, and also like the weekends, like if it's a weekend, some places are open later than they usually are. So, I think one of my senior year, one of our big places was Jack Brown's, which is a burger spot in downtown.
Mm.
So that was one of our post game after a win. It was kind of like a sports bar, and they'd have the TVs up playing like highlights of whether it's our game or everybody else's. But Jack Brown's was huge for us. And then Chipotle was my thing. Really, I couldn't not eat Chipotle, especially in college, and it was right maybe a block away from JBJ. So that was definitely somewhere that we went to faithfully, and it's hard because it's so good every single time, and we always used to go there. And but yeah, I mean, I think Jack Brown's was definitely one of our post game places, and we also had, depending on when the game was, we used to get meals at the gym where we'd be able to take home to-go boxes and things like that, just in case things were closed and stuff like that. So
yeah, that's nice. So kind of to piggyback on that question, how about flights going from like leaving a game? Were there any memorable meals that you had on a post-game flight that you can remember?
So we would either get Chipotle. Chipotle was one of them. It's a place called Bodo, which is kind of like Flamin' Wok, but I think I forgot. I was in Pantops or somewhere. And then I think it was those. Chick-fil-A was one. Chipotle, Kabuto, and Zoe's Kitchen were always 4 things that we used to have. They kind of rotated those 4 things on a bus or on our way to a game.
Nice. And you can see I'm wearing my Brooklyn Nets hat. So I was at UVA, and then I'm like a Nets fan my whole life. So I'm always interested in Joe Harris food eating. He seems like on Instagram, I follow him, and he seems like a top-notch foodie that's got like very intricate places in Brooklyn. I'm like, you have to go like under the street, through a river, down the road, and then it's like the best toast you've ever had.
Yeah.
Was Joe always a foodie like that, even at UVA?
Yeah, I think it's hard not to. Like I said, in Charlottesville, with all those so many different food places, and I think Joe has definitely introduced me to a lot of different food spots in Charlottesville. Him being a senior and I was a freshman, so. But yeah, he's always been a food guy. And then I bet you he has the inside scoop in Brooklyn right now, where to go and where not to go. So I went to go visit, or I think I was in New York one time, and we went to Soho House, which was amazing. And so, but yeah, I mean, he's always been a foodie, so there's nothing new for him.
That's cool. Have there ever been teammates, professionally and in college, where they got you to try something maybe you never had before, or were hesitant to try, but there was a teammate from a different background that said, "Hey, we've got to try this cuisine"?
Yeah, I mean, I played overseas a couple years in Istanbul and in France. So I definitely had my fair share of trying things that I didn't necessarily like. Wasn't able to try the escargot, which was I was kind of pushing that aside and didn't want to do that. But that I would say in Istanbul, I tried. What did I try? There's so many different things that I kind of tried and that I didn't necessarily like, but I tried it anyway, just because of the culture and not wanting to be messed. I guess messed up is not the word, but I don't want to kind of spit in their face and say, "Oh no, this is not good." So I definitely tried it, but. I'm not a big fan of sweet potatoes, and I definitely just tried recently sweet potato fries. So,
what'd you think?
I'm still not a fan. I just don't think potatoes need to be sweet. I just think they need to be regular. So,
I like both forms of the potato. That's funny. Yeah, sweet potato fries. I mean, at least they're fried, so that helps. But not a fan of the sweet version of that. That's interesting.
No, I'm not.
That's fine. But I also, I like that, you said maybe I wasn't going to, love this food, love this cuisine, but at least give something a shot. I think that's all. I think, if you don't like it, you don't like it. But at least if you've tried it, you can then tell people, you know what? Like, because I personally, I don't like eggs, which I know is like, everybody's like, you don't like eggs? I'm like, I've tried them in an omelet. I've tried them scrambled. I've tried them when they look disgusting and they're like yolky. Like I don't want to eat eggs. Is there anything you won't like? Any weird food habit? You're like, I'm not touching that. Besides the sweet potato, of course.
Sweet potatoes is my thing. That's definitely my thing that I can't get a part of.
All right, so Uber Eats deliveries. I know with the pandemic going on, life has changed a lot for everybody. Have you been using Uber Eats, DoorDash, or a third-party app a lot to get food delivered to your house?
Oh, I have probably every app you can order food on downloaded on my phone. So I've always been a person that like to eat food in the comfort of my own home anyway. So it kind of just was when COVID happened, it kind of took away the option of maybe like for sushi or something like that. You know, getting delivered sushi sometimes can be hit or miss in terms of it's not as fresh or whatever. So sushi, I definitely miss eating in a restaurant. But other than that, I've always been a big Uber Eats, Postmates type of person, and I just like to be on my couch eating. So
I'm 100% with you. I hate it. I hate going to restaurants unless it was at the bar because then I knew the service would be good. But I always like, I gotta wait. I want to do my thing. I want to be comfortable. I hate going to restaurants. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Is there an app that you've found to be the best, or is it just based on what kind of meal you're looking for that they have provided?
It actually is based on the city also that you're in too, because like some cities Postmates will be prominent, and some cities Uber Eats is more prominent than Postmates and things like that. So here it really just it does depend on what I'm trying to eat. Because Cheesecake Factory, I'm a big person. I'm a big Cheesecake Factory person, and that's on DoorDash, I think. So that's one of the reasons why I have DoorDash downloaded is because of Cheesecake Factory. So it really just depends. I kind of sometimes, I mean, I have my main places on Postmates and then obviously Cheesecake Factory on DoorDash and things like that. So you kind of learn I just kind of look through Postmates first and then see what else comes after just to see what else is on there. So.
Now, this is a big point of conversation on this podcast, and I'll be curious to get your take on it. When foods, now the sushi wouldn't count for this, but when food's delivered to your house, do you reheat it or just open the bag and go?
It depends. Depends on how long it took. Depends on how far it is, and if it's hot. If it's hot, then I won't. If it isn't hot, I'll definitely reheat it. It also depends on what it is because you don't want to mess it up as well. So. But yeah, I'd much rather eat it hot than cold.
I'm a overheater, so I'll heat up anything not sushi. I'm not gonna pop popping tuna rolls in the microwave and then it's destroyed. But I'm like, you know what? I want this restaurant standard, and I'll overdo it. And I know I overdo it. My wife hates me for doing it, but I'm notorious for overdoing it. What are you getting at the Cheesecake Factory? What's the big meal there?
So cheesecake is my go-to in terms of desserts. And so realistically, Cheesecake Factory has a huge menu.
Yeah, it does. Oh my God.
So it's hard to really like try everything on the menu, but I've had a couple different things. They have a good chicken Madeira, which is like a pasta with like a breaded chicken, like a pesto pasta, which is one of my go-tos. And then the egg roll sampler is something that I get a lot too. But meal-wise, I don't necessarily go out and try and change anything with cheesecake because there's so much stuff.
Right.
But yeah, the cheesecake, I don't even switch that up either. I'm an original cheesecake guy with the strawberry drizzle, and then I think it's the Cinnabon cheesecake. That changed my life.
That's tremendous. Have you ever had any bad experiences? Any bad, not like me, like I'm the best. I'm the best as it gets. Any bad delivery drivers or ones where you're just like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, there's been times where the driver was driving away from my house and I just was and it was like nonstop. Like they were like going around, it was kind of like a windy road, and then it seemed like they were supposed to come back, and the next thing you know, they keep going away. So, I mean, I'm not really a stickler on that because you are kind of bringing me my food and you are doing the service. So, but there have been times where they have dropped it off to other apartments in my apartment building, and which I don't understand how that happens when I don't change my apartment. My apartment is set in stone on my Postmates and stuff,
Right.
so I don't ever change it. So it's really some people need more help getting into my apartment building than others, and some people don't speak English sometimes, and so that's always hard.
Sure.
And I mean, there's obviously some difficulties with that, but they're bringing me food, so it's not that bad.
There is like, and my wife and I get Uber Eats brought to our house all the time too. But there is something like thrill. I don't know. It's like a weird thrill when all of a sudden on the app, it's like your driver Josh is 4 minutes away, and you're like, oh my god, this is the greatest. This is the greatest moment of my day. This person is arriving at my house. That thrill there.
Yeah, when you get the exact minutes of when,
yeah, right.
That's when you know.
And what's your tipping etiquette for the delivery driver?
So I mean, I kind of try to keep it the same as a restaurant, really, in terms of just like percentages, and I kind of try and keep it at no less than 10% of what the meal costs me. Otherwise, if it's like if it's like a smaller, like a Jamba Juice or something, like a smoothie, then I'll keep. It really just depends on the price of the meal, though. So,
interesting too here, and maybe you don't even know this, but like Uber Eats in the last week or maybe 2 weeks has changed this, where now I can kind of get an idea of what the person I'm picking up the food for is tipping. So like, if I see that this person didn't tip, I'll just decline the order. Have you seen it? Yeah. So another part of this podcast that I find is cool is like when I talk to different people, I get to kind of help somebody that's like, if you're using Uber Eats, I can't speak for the other apps as much. That wouldn't be, I don't really know those as well.
Yeah.
But like if you, for example, like I happened to be your delivery driver one day and I went to pick up your food, I could see, like I could drop it off and be like, well, London, thanks for only giving me 72 cents for that. That was really nice. So just to be aware if that plays into 72 anything.
Cents is not happening for me.
I know. I'm joking.
I won't do that.
Yeah, no, I'm just joking. So you're in the LA area now and then grew up in Los Angeles. What was your favorite meals when you were younger, and like what you would say if I was coming to LA, like our LA go-to meal or go-to places?
I'm a big Mexican foods fan, and there's a lot of great Mexican food spots in Los Angeles. I think that's probably one of the main foods that are probably most prominent in LA. So there's a lot of just in the cut taco places. Whether now there's a lot more taco trucks around than when I was growing up. So those are always cool, and then kind of just learning about like social media, how they'll be posting where they'll be at and what street they'll be at. So that has kind of changed the way food has been around here. But I've always been just a Mexican food spot, and I'm an advocate for In-N-Out.
Okay.
That's when I think a couple of my teammates came out after my freshman year, and I think we hit that probably like 4 times for them, just to try and show them what the best burger is, in my opinion. But East Coasters give me slack for that because they're either Five Guys fans or Shake Shack, and so I mean, In-N-Out. If you're coming to LA, is probably gonna be the one stop that we're gonna go to. And if you like Mexican food, I have plenty of spots for that. So
love Mexican food. I haven't done In-N-Out. So what would be your? I assume they don't have sweet potato fries because I'm guessing that. What would be your go-to order at In-N-Out that you'd recommend?
Yeah, so it's it really depends because how hungry I am, and because there's times where like if I'm in the middle of training and I want to be healthy, they have the lettuce wrap burgers and things like that. But if I'm just trying to eat In-N-Out and dive in and indulge, I'll get 2 double doubles with grilled onions and the fry. And I think they're just super fresh, the burgers. I definitely will. if people are listening and they're like, oh, In-N-Out's fries suck, like all this stuff. I can agree to that. I can agree to that because they are very hit or miss. Sometimes they come out super fresh, super crispy, super hot. Sometimes they come out and they won't have any color to them. They might be a little soggy, but I feel like that's with any fries,
Sure,
more or less. I think McDonald's has the best fries ever, but I don't eat McDonald's anymore, so we got to keep. I got to find another spot.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the French fry thing. As an expert in this field, French fries, French fries are terrible on takeout. Always, they get soggy, wet. The integrity of them goes from one of the greatest foods that you can have to this is not what I deem as a French fry. So
moisture in the bag just messes them
kills
up.
Kills it. So then, because I remember, I don't know if it was in Charlottesville exactly. I think maybe it was in the downtown mall. Five Guys. Did you go there and there was a difference? You could taste the difference.
There was a difference, and for me, I'm a very loyal person in terms of food and in terms of anything really. So like when people were talking junk about In-N-Out and with like comparing it to Five Guys, I was like, okay, like if you're gonna disrespect In-N-Out like this, I'm not even gonna try it. Like, bro, like so I still have not tried Five Guys. I will advocate for Shake Shack though. I do like Shake Shack as my close second. So.
And then no to McDonald's just because it's probably not good for you.
Yeah, it's probably not the best for you.
That's crazy. Well, London, I've enjoyed this conversation. It's been a lot of fun. There's a couple questions I ask all my guests just when we wrap up. But before we do that, I know you wanted to mention your mom's jewelry line that she had started.
I have one. I have one
nice.
On right now. She just makes a bunch of different things. She started making these before she had me, and then obviously I came into the picture and kind of ruined her dreams with that, and she had to do some other things. So, but I have three younger brothers, so she ended up pushing all of that aside until we kind of were able to do stuff on our own. And obviously she has more time with the COVID stuff. She's still working, but she has some free time at the house. So she started doing this again, and she makes some for men, women. She just made a little breast cancer for, I think, what is it, this month? She made a little breast cancer awareness, a lot of pink, a lot of different things. But she's selling them in sets and things like that. And
cool.
If you are a UVA fan or a London fan, I would love if you could support my mother, because it would make her the most happy.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
cool.
Definitely check that out.
I'll put the information for the link in the show notes of this podcast. If you're listening to this or watching the YouTube video, you can check it out and get more information there. All right, so just a couple of questions here to end the podcast, London. I just ask for your complete honesty on these. That's all I ask for. All right.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, tough stuff coming your way. Be careful. Pancake or waffle?
Waffles.
Any particular? Yeah, it's been more waffle than I thought. I'm surprised.
Well, Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles is a big thing in LA. We can also add that to it. I'm not a big fan of getting waffles delivered, because I feel like that kind of takes like the French fries thing in terms of getting that moisture and making it a little bit soggy. So I haven't had Roscoe's since this pandemic started because of that. But if I can sit down into a breakfast spot and eat waffles, fresh waffles, I'll do that any day.
Cake or pie?
So does cheesecake count as a cake or a pie?
Well, I guess we'll go cake. I think we'll cake.
Well, then, cake.
Whatever you want.
For sure.
Yeah. And then you mentioned the Cinnabon and just the regular with the two goes too.
Yeah, definitely.
Best thing you ate in the last 7 days?
Best thing I ate in the last 7 days. That's tough. I have to say this place called Campos Tacos. They make these turkey tacos, which is not necessarily a normal thing that you see a lot often. That's one of my go-tos. I actually had it for my pre-birthday dinner on Friday.
Oh, well, happy birthday.
Appreciate it. I'm getting old. No, but yes, some turkey tacos, probably one of the best tacos that I've had.
So this was a pre-birthday dinner. So was this like
so my birthday was on Saturday, so
okay.
we brought in my birthday on Friday with some tacos.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like dinner was at 7 and
no,
we had our pre-dinner.
Pre-day birthday.
Gotcha. What was the dinner birthday? What'd you have?
I had a couple of friends come over, and we just ordered a bunch of wings and fries. It's kind of something very easy for all of us instead of making a bunch of different orders for a couple of different people. So yeah,
I've never. My dream is to deliver to my own house. I have not. My wife and I have tried it. It has not worked yet. That is my dream. All right, bonus question, because I just thought of it and I should have had this before. Tony Bennett, is it true that he loves Zinburger? Was that like his go-to place?
For sure. I need to talk to him about that, because he might need to bring that place back himself.
For sure. I know, right?
That was one of my favorites.
Yeah. It's still here in New Jersey, so I know it's like it's like 5 minutes from my house, so it's nice, on my end. Yeah.
We gotta find a way to get that back in Charlottesville.
That's right. And then the final question on the Mike Delivers podcast: in a year from now, you're sending out wedding invitations. Do you invite me to your wedding?
We have to have a couple more podcasts, and then you'll get an invite yourself.
I just asked for the honesty, London. Thanks for coming on the Mike Delivers podcast. I enjoyed it.
For sure. Thanks for having me.